this is John. He's bought and sold over 4,000 properties. And as someone who hasn't bought and sold over 4,000 properties, I was curious and I wanted to learn exactly how he did it. 5 years into my property journey, and I've always had big ambitions and wondered, is it possible to buy 1,000 properties? And if so, what does it take to actually achieve this? As someone who's done this 4 times over, I thought that John would be the ideal person to speak to. So I twisted his arm to come on to season 2 of my podcast, and I wanted to share a short snippet from where we break down exactly what it takes to get to 1,000 properties. A lot of people who watch my content, they want to grow quite a sizable portfolio.
Yes, ambitious.
What that means to them is subjective. For someone that might be 10 houses, for someone that might be 100. If I'm thinking about this, thinking you've bought and sold over 4,000 properties. Yep. If somebody wanted to build a portfolio of 1,000 houses or 1,000 properties,
yes, going
from 0 to 1,000, there's going to be lots of different phases within that.
Yes.
So going from 0 to 10,
yes,
is different from 10 to 100.
Yes.
Going from 10 to 100 is different from 100 to 1,000. What does somebody need, from your experience, from the number of deals that you've done, what does somebody need to be thinking about in terms of their mindset, their skills, their knowledge, their team? What do they need to be aware of at each one of those stages? So if someone wants to go from 0 to 10 units, okay, what do they have to be thinking about?
Okay, I think to build out 10 houses or 10 flats is hard bloody work.
Yeah.
And at the moment, like I said, I don't think that really works, and keep them. Sell them, maybe it works, but most people, it depends what your skill set is. That's the first thing. Because if you're a builder, you've got a massive advantage over everyone else.
Yeah.
So if you can find houses that you can convert into 2 flats or 3 flats, like the PD is 2 flats, going to be 2 flats, and have a trick that works for you. And that could be, like we said earlier, buying a house, splitting into 2, sell 1, keep 1. You might be able to keep both and refinance and let them and move on, depending on the area you're in. But you've also got to think about capital growth. And in the weaker areas, the poorer areas, the rental return is better, but the capital growth is grim. Yeah. Whatever anyone says, it's grim. And it's always the last place to go up, and it's the first place to go down in a recession. The quality areas, less rent, much more capital growth, and when it hits the fan, the property market hits the fan, you can always sell them still if you have to. So you've got to it's a balance of what you do. But I would try and do house into 2 flats, sell 1, keep 1. Don't expect to keep everything. It's not practical, not with interest rates as they are. Buy a house, and then the next one perhaps buy 3, maybe existing flats just to refurbish, nice and quick, if you can. If not, convert into 3, keep 2, sell 1 maybe.
Yeah.
Keeps your tax down as well, of course. That's the other thing you've got to remember. Capital gains and everything, tax and everything else. They move on and move on and move on. And eventually you'll get to a stage where you'll be doing 10 flats, keeping 5. Yeah. Then you'll be doing 15 flats, keeping 6.
So, okay, but then for somebody who is watching this, maybe they've got 5 buy-to-lets or something like that.
Yeah, done well.
And they're thinking, they've worked hard. Maybe it's a case of worked a job, saved
money. And by the way, don't give up your job is the key.
Yeah.
Very important, keep your job as long as possible.
But if someone's got 5 buy-to-lets and they're going, right, people talk about building a portfolio of 100 properties. Yes. What would be the next steps that you would advise them to take?
Well, in the old, I said the old, it wasn't that long ago. Before, you would say, well, I tell you what, every 3 years, 2 years, refinance those properties, get your cash out, and go again. Yeah, you don't need to sell. If interest rates are very low and property's rising, you don't need to sell. Yeah, you can refinance, and there's probably the only place in the world, by the way, that lets you refinance. Because don't forget, if you're in Ireland, you want to take money out of your house in Ireland because it's gone up in value, unless you can prove you're using it to enhance the house with extensions, they won't let you have it.
Yeah. For people who are listening or watching, I'm trying to pinpoint some next steps.
Well, if you've got 5 houses and you've got a lot of equity in those houses and you want to move on, then you can certainly still refinance, not as much as you could, get the cash together, and then go and buy another 2. So if you've got 5, 3 years ago you could have pulled money out of all 5 probably, and gone and bought another 2 or 3, and then wait a couple of years and do the same thing again, same thing again, same thing. Because remember, property's gone up 5% a year for those 25 years on average. Now that's harder to do, so you've got to sweat it more. You either get an investor in to go and buy a whole load if you think the market's right now.
Yeah.
I still think the only real way to do it is to produce 2 or 3 units out of one. If you see what I'm saying?
So multiply the number of units.
I think so, because then you're keeping some and you're selling some, you're keeping that cash flow going.
So then somebody obviously can do that alongside their job. Maybe they're doing 3 properties, maybe they're doing 5 properties.
Well, do 20, still keep your job.
Yeah, but then...
Don't give up the job.
How does somebody go to 100?
You keep going. If it's not broken, you don't need to fix it.
So you would be going to buy... So your view is number of units. If you can buy more, if you can buy 5 units, then you'd buy 5. Once you then sold them, you can then buy 7.
Yes.
Then you buy 10.
Yes.
Then you buy, and that's how you'd scale. You wouldn't scale.
But also,
by,
then you can cheat. Then you can cheat because then you can go. Then you can go and buy a block of flats, 25 flats.
Yeah.
And sell some, or maybe keep them all, or whatever. And then you can go buy a block of 50. So actually, you're not. It starts off. It's a ball ache to start with, but as you get more capital and more equity, you can buy bigger and more units.
Yeah. So
you can multiply.
So you've got to your 4,000 predominantly. Obviously, there's been lots of other things that you've done, but predominantly through buying or disused, run-down apartment blocks, renovating them and selling.
Yes,
that's the main thing.
I would say we've done a lot of conversions over 40 years. You have a number of strategies. You know, you don't just stick with one probably because it doesn't work in the end. So like we said early on about PD, it does work sort of now, and you can, it works at the lower level probably, but once you start going bigger PD schemes, the cost of them is just. And of course, if you've got someone, you need to work to your strength. If you're a builder, you can't really go wrong. Yeah. To be honest with you, we have to pay 20% more because we don't get our hands dirty. Is the truth. So I mean, if you can do the work yourself, just play to your strengths. If you're really good at getting planning permission because you're a planning consultant, is your main job, then great. Do that. Yeah. If you're a builder, do that.
Let's say somebody's watching this or listening to this and goes, I don't have strengths or skill sets.
I'd say that's a load of rubbish. Everyone has skill. It might be communicating with people, in which case getting contacts. I've got builders who are useless at networking. I'm not. Guess what? I'm good at networking and making contacts. So the builder can buy off me for more money because he can do the work, or she can do the work 20% cheaper. Yeah. So that's my margin. So I can find properties, sell them to the builder for more money, and they make because they spend less on it. Yeah. Or a more naive investor, or so you place your strength. If you can talk a good game.
But there will be people out there who think, do you know what, I just don't know what my skill set will be, or I'm ready to invest in growing a skill set. Yes. What do you think is if there was 1 or 2 skills that you'd recommend for someone to get, what's the highest value skill that's going to give you the biggest leverage in this industry?
Let me stop you there. The highest skill is having contacts. If you haven't got any contacts, you ain't going to find a deal. Yeah. And to sweeten those contacts by offering a 2% finder's fee, I get loads of people come to me and say, how do you get your deals? I said, well, I pay 2% finder's fee. And we also pay a fee at the end to say thank you sometimes. Well, I'm not paying that. I don't want to pay that. Well, we won't get deals then, will you? Yeah. Or I've got a deal. I can tell you about it, but I want 2% finder's fee. Oh, we only pay 1%. Oh, well, okay, thanks very much. I'll find someone to pay 2%. Yeah. So they don't find out about it. So, be open-minded, be open, help people, and I know it sounds silly, but going into an estate agent's, identifying the person who you can work with, buy them a coffee. Buy them a coffee. Don't just email everyone. Get on the bloody phone and talk to them. I know it's old-fashioned. It doesn't matter the amount how much they spend on you. It's the fact that they are making an effort. It could be a coffee. But whatever you invest in someone, it's not the amount. You get a lot more back. Yeah. A lot more back.
So if someone wanted to, like you say, the skill set you'd say, or not even a skill set, it's just what you think would be good, is to to go out and make contacts, get contacts.
Absolutely.
Who does someone need to make contacts with, and what would be their next steps to do that?
Well, I think these property clubs are good and groups are good, and I'm speaking at one tonight. You know, I think they're great. Don't be put off by people who say they're doing this, they're doing that. Oh, I'm so clever, I'm doing... Because, you know, I'm normally the speaker, and I come away feeling depressed.
Yeah.
Because there's always a few clever who reckon they're doing loads and loads of deals. Whatever they say to you, cut it in half.
Yeah, a lot of people talk BS.
They talk it up, and it's never as big as they say, and they've never made as much as they say they've made, probably. So don't be put off by that. But you will manage to find somebody who you engage with and who actually you like and they like you. And then start making contacts, you know, and be genuine, be decent, be honest with them, because it all comes back in the end if you're not.
Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you guys found that helpful. Don't forget to keep your eyes out for season 2 of the podcast with guests like John and many, many more. Don't forget, if you are looking for your next property deal, check the links in the description. You can find out how we can help you and also get access to our free online property training program, also found in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video.